okay, or what exactly are the step-by-steps which application is functioning. If there is specific type of DLL calls, okay, if there is specific type of imports, whether we can modify it or whether we can manipulate the same, and whether we can try the privilege escalation or those specific type of vulnerabilities there or not, whether we can bypass client side authentication by changing the GUI modules, okay, or whether we can do our account takeovers or not. So basically those will be our second phase, which will be dynamic analysis. And last one will be reverse engineering. So we will do the memory dump, we will verify the logs, and we will check that after execution of the application, whether there is any type of temporary files, logs of the application, or the memory dump of that particular process which can leak some type of sensitive user data or not. So those will be the three main phases which will be following step by step, and after that we will go forward and we will learn how to report, and I will be sharing the checklist as well. So this will complete our full testing process of the client application, and we will do all of those specific things in different or various applications as well. So that was it from our course module. Anyhow, I will be sharing this particular link with you guys. Okay, so now all those specific communication we can do it over the Skype group itself. Every PPT, okay, all those specific PDFs, all those specific materials, I will be sharing it with you guys over the Skype channel, okay, or our particular Skype group, and you guys can go forward and have a look, or basically you can go forward and get or practice all of those specific things from there itself. So that was the main thing from our course side. Now as we are jumping into thick client penetration testing, we should have a good amount of fundamentals of what exactly are thick client applications, right? So basically when it comes to thick client applications are those type of applications which we can run in our user's machine. Okay, so when it comes to this particular type of Zoom application or Skype application or Microsoft Teams application, right, those applications, what we will be doing is we will execute in our particular system, and then we will go forward and we will be able to use them, right? So that those specific things are called, or those specific type of applications are called thick client applications. Normally in these applications, all those specific business logics, okay, all those components, all the temporary data will be used by your operating system, and basically with the use of those specific things, your application will be able to go forward and function or executes its functionality. So that is what we can call it as a thick client applications. Any doubts, any queries till now? Anyone?
No, sir.
No. So I have one question. Okay, so when it comes to our Windows, right, we will be having many of the drivers, Windows drivers, right? There will be some type of printer driver, there will be some specific type of keyboard drivers, right? Or there will be lots and lots of drivers. Whether those drivers will be considered as a thick client application, or what type of applications will be? So who can tell me that one? Anyone can go ahead.
Can you come again, Keval, once?
Sure. So when it comes to our Windows system, right, we will be installing many drivers in that system. Something like we will be installing our printer driver, we will be installing camera driver, we will also be installing some specific type of keyboard drivers, right, mouse drivers. We will be installing lots and lots of drivers in Windows system, right? So those driver applications, can we call it as a thick client application, or it will be different type of applications?
No, we can't call them as thick client.
Why?
Because they are dependent for system to run, but however thick client, it uses computer space to store the data and to run the application.
Correct.
Whereas those are different, drivers are different from thick client applications.
Okay, so main thing is when it comes to those specific drivers, right, they will be either in MSI format or EXE format. We can also consider that particular driver applications as a thick client application only, because they will, although they are having different functionalities, okay, they will not be having any type of user interaction or those specific type of things, but they will be working or they will be getting installed in that particular system, and they will be working, or basically they will also be functioning in that particular system. During that function, they will be taking many functionalities from that operating system to function, and they will be executing those specific things. So those drivers also, we can consider it as a thick client application itself. Okay. So now when it comes to thick client application, so why developers will be using those specific type of thick client applications? So when it comes to those specific things, basically whenever we are having those type of complex things, okay, something like there is a complex form, or there is there are loads and loads of menus, right? Those specific things cannot be done on some specific type of web applications, or it will be very much difficult for the developers to do the same complex things in that particular web applications. So at that point of time, normally they will be having this particular type of applications where application will be installed in that particular system, and they can perform all those complex calculations. They will be having good graphics, they will be having all those menus, function forms, and it will be able to cover those specific functionalities as well. So normally at that point of time, by installing, it will be having a better user experience than other web applications. When it comes to web applications, many times there might be some type of network errors, there might be many challenges which users can face, right? Some specific applications will be supporting a specific type of browsers, right? So at that point of time, they will not be able to use it, or they will be having many challenges at that point of time. But when it comes to thick client application, their scope will be defined, that it will be able to install, or it will be able to execute in this particular type of system, or this particular type of operating system. So at that point of time, they will be able to go forward and get those specific details as well. Now, when it comes to our thick client applications, there will be majorly two types of applications which we will be able to see. Now, in these two type of architectures, okay, basically there are many, or basically there are multiple subtypes, but whenever we are following those specific things, we will be facing two types of architectures based on the functionality of application. First one is two-tier application. So when it comes to two-tier application, we will be having two things. First one will be client interface, and second one will be server interface. Except that there will be nothing, because here whenever those specific type of applications are available where the application does not require any type of database, or where the application does not need to have that particular type of thing, at that point of time we will be having two things. First one will be architecture. Basically the first component will be client side, and second component will be server side. What exactly this particular two components will be doing, how they will be interacting with each other. So when it comes to client interface, we will be having our GUI in our particular desktop. Okay, so basically whenever we are opening our Skype application, so I am having this particular GUI where I can see you guys, right? So this is called our client interface, or client, our particular client component. What exactly we can do here, we will or what exactly will be existing here, client side code will be existing, okay, our particular GUI components will be existing, okay, and application logic will be existing here. Okay, so basically at that point of time, whenever we are going forward and doing some type of activity, there will be a specific request which will be sent to that particular server, and server will be processing that request, and it will go forward and respond to that particular request, or basically it will respond to that particular request. So in the server side, there will be all of those specific type of application, or basically the application processing unit, where it will go forward and it will take that request and it will process it. Same thing goes with our Skype application, or we can relate it to our this particular application itself. So whenever I have started the call, okay, so at that point of time, there will be a specific request which will be sent to that server, Okay, here we can understand it as a client or basically Skype server. Skype server will be able to know, okay, that this particular user wants to start that particular call, and it will go forward and it will respond back, and the same component, the component which is used, or basically the GUI which is used for starting that call will be used, and I will be able to see this particular screen. Right. So that is what will happen. There will be two particular components in two-tier architecture. One will be client, which as a user we will be interacting with, and second one will be server, which server will be processing with. Okay, so every time there will be communication from client to server to give us that particular functionality to which we want to use. Okay, so this is our two-tier architecture. When it comes to three-tier architecture, definitely there will be one more added component, which will be our particular database. Now, when it comes to those specific type of things, okay, the before two, when it comes to the client and server, those two will be same itself, but that particular server will also be interacting with one particular database where the users related data, okay, the application related data will be stored, and application server, whenever user is requesting for any particular thing, they will go forward and they will be able to get those specific requests, and the same thing can be transmitted to that particular user as well. So normally what will happen is, as a user, okay, I am using this particular Skype, and I want to go forward and I want to check the list of other users. Okay, so I want to check whether Prashant is available in Skype or not. So I will go forward and I will search it in one particular search option or search functionalities, the search bar. At that point of time, what will happen is that request will be sent to that particular application server. As application server will be able to understand that the user wants to search for this particular user, it will send the same query with that database, and then database will be able to fetch those specific results. It will give to that particular application server, and at last we will be able to get the response that whether that particular person or user is available in that application or not. Same thing goes with the rest of the functionalities as well. We will be able to understand by seeing that particular GUI of that application that which particular user form or that user page is taking the details from database, and which particular user form or user page is taking the details just from the application server. So these are the two particular architectures of our thick client application. Any doubts, any queries till now, guys? Anyone?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Sure. So today majorly we will be having those specific fundamentals itself. Okay, so basically today we will be clearing those specific things. I will also show you guys that what all tools we are going to use, and from tomorrow's session we will go forward and we will take up our particular configuration part. Okay, so how to configure our applications to start our penetration testing. Now, next thing is there is one particular thing which is called thin client applications. So who can tell me, have you guys heard of thin client applications, or what exactly thin client applications are? Yes, Baran.
Thin clients are web applications, right?
Correct. Okay, so thin clients are the applications which we commonly refer as a web applications, but any application which are browser based applications, okay, we can call it as a thin client applications. Okay, so normally most of the web application will be covered as a thin client applications. So what is the difference between thick client application and thin client application? So before I explain you guys what exactly are the difference, will you guys be able to guess one or two points out of that one? Yes.
Thin client application will work on internet based
Correct.
without internet, and it does not occupy any space in the system to run that.
Correct.
But whereas thick client, it requires some memory to will be stored in the system,
Correct.
and for running that it requires internet as well as the memory should be used
Exact.
while
Ex
running.
Great, great, great. So that is what will be happening. So when it comes to thin client applications, normally as a example, we can compare it as a web application who are browser based. We can only open it in our particular browser itself. The thing which I'm showing you guys, right? Something like this one. There is drive.google.com or there is docs.google.com, right? This is what I can call you, or I can tell it as a thin client application. Whereas if I show you something like this application, okay, or this application, right? So basically this is what we can call it as a thick client application. The functioning of both of the applications are same, but one is browser based, which we can call it as a thin client, and second one is installed in our particular system, which we can call it as a thick client application. When it comes to differences of that one, basically the main thing will be that the first thing will be the thin client application will be having those specific things where it will be browser based, and it will just need one particular thing, where it will just need the one particular thing which will be our internet or network access. Okay, except that it will not require any type of installation. It will not require any specific thing or any specific user work, okay, where user has to install or user has to configure some specific amount of thing to run or execute its functionality. Whereas when it comes to thick client applications will be using our memory. Okay, many of the thick client application will require our particular network access, but many of the thick client application does not require based on the functionality. Something like we are using Skype, right, as our thick client application. So this particular application will require our network access. Whereas if I'm using the similar type of thing, which was numbers or sheets, right, or those type of applications, it will not require network access, right? It will be just going forward, and it will be working in my particular system itself. Second thing will be, it will be storing the files and it will be using those specific files, okay, whenever it requires. Many of the thick client applications will be having some type of temporary folders, temporary files. We can easily go ahead and check. Okay, if you guys are using Windows, at that point of time we will be having C, okay, in program files we'll be having a specific folder called Skype, and in that there will be many files or temporary files which application will be using to go forward and use, or basically to give us the better experience, right? So that is the second thing. Third thing will be, as this particular application resides on my side, okay, as a client side, definitely it will be much more faster, because all the application logic, it will not require the network access. It can just execute it from the application side or operating system side itself. So at that point of time, normally as there is no required no requirement of network, it will be much more faster and user experience will be much more better at that time. Now, what exactly are the major vulnerabilities which we will be trying to check, or which will be verifying? Okay, normally we will be going forward and validating all the injection vulnerabilities, parameter manipulation, the response manipulation. We will check for improper error handling, insecure storage. Okay, so the first four might be similar with your particular web application pen testing. Okay, definitely the way how we execute it will be different, but you can compare or you can relate it with your web application itself. This one you will not be able to find it in your web applications. This one we will be checking specifically for thick client applications, which will be in secure storage. When it comes to applications which is storing some type of data in files or database, we'll go forward and verify, and we will check that how that particular storage is done by the application. We will also validate a sensitive data exposure, application level DOS attack, okay, improper access control or account takeovers, improper session management, and last one will be reverse engineering. This will also, you will not be able to find it in your web applications. Basically we will be able to see it in our specific for thick client applications itself. Okay, so overall we will be having this many major vulnerabilities. There will be many subfolders. Okay, so basically in our sub types also, in injections there will be lots and lots of injection vulnerabilities. Likewise we will be having all the subtypes as well, but this will be the main types which we'll be covering during our syllabus itself. Now, how will be our testing methodologies? Overall, I have told you guys that we will be following three, right? Static, dynamic, and reverse. When it comes to our main particular static analysis, we will be covering our information gathering or static analysis, where we will be validating that particular files, okay, and executable files, and we will check that whether our particular details are or any interesting things are available in that particular application or not. When it comes to dynamic testing, we will validate the network packets, whether any type of sensitive credentials, okay, something like our credentials, API keys, specific tokens, all of those specific type of things are going plain in network over the network or not. Okay, we will go forward and we will check for the server side testing, where we will be conducting the injections. We will be validating whether the application is having injections or not. Okay, parameter manipulation, response manipulation, all of those specific things. When it comes to client side vulnerabilities, we will go forward and we will validate that whether by changing the GUI of that application we are allowed to bypass the authentication or authorization or not. Okay, so at that point of time we will validate whether our input validation is there or not, whether we can change that particular user, or basically we can change that particular application interface or not. All of those specific things will be covered at that point of time. We will also be doing our binary and our memory analysis, where we will be taking the dump of the memory of that particular process, and we will verify whether those specific things are available or not. Now, what exactly are the tools which we will be using over the time? So we have learned this particular seven, or we will be learning this particular 7 steps for our penetration testing, right? All the tools are mentioned here. So this will be our particular assignment. We can call it till tomorrow. Okay, so till tomorrow, like definitely after this particular session I will be sharing this particular the PDF or this PPT with you guys, and you guys have to install these tools before tomorrow's session. So this will be your assignment. So before that, I would like to know that who are not having Windows 10 as their main operating system. Does anyone not have that particular Windows 10, or everyone is having the Windows 10 either installed in the VMware VirtualBox or as a main operating system? Does everyone have it, or shall I show you from where we can download the Windows 10 or that particular thing?
Yes, sir, I have.
You are having, right? Okay. Parani, Narendra, Srivatsa?
Yeah, I do have.
Yeah, even I do have.
Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, great. So basically, we will be using our Windows system for doing our penetration testing, and we will go forward and we will check for those specific for exploits as well. First thing is our information gathering phase. Okay, so in information gathering, okay, I have given you guys all the links. So just after this, once I share your PDF, okay, you can just click on that particular file, and you will be good to go to that particular page where we can go forward and download that particular version. So if I just go forward and click on it, definitely I will be taken to that particular place, and you can just download that particular CFF Explorer. So I will give you overview of these particular things, okay, and during the session when we will be learning that particular task, okay, so if we are going forward with information gathering or network packets or that particular thing, we will learn first of all that how we can use that particular tool, and how we can go forward and get those specific how we can exploit the same things to our particular application as well. So first one is our CFF Explorer. So CFF Explorer we will be using to gather information about our particular application. Okay, so in our particular application there will be a specific thing called PE headers. Okay, so we will be learning the more about or in-depth thing about PE headers in our tomorrow's session. Okay, where we will be starting up with our information gathering. But normally as a overview we can tell that PE headers are those specific type of things. We can also tell it as a portable executable. What exactly they will be doing? They will be having a specific the compressing, or basically they will be having the specific information of what type or what functionalities that executable file is containing. So it will be having different sections, where one section will be containing that this application is built on this particular type of language. Okay, second section will be containing that this particular application requires this many DLL files or this many imports from that operating system, right? Third section will be containing that this application will be having this many exports. Okay, so those specific things will be available in the PE headers. What our tool will be doing, it will go forward and it will extract out all those portable executable or PE header details, and we will be able to understand that which type of application is it, means which language that application was built on, what exactly are the imports, what exactly are the DLL imports, what exactly are the things which it takes from operating system, what exactly will be exports. All those information will be getting from that particular CFF Explorer tool. Okay, so that is why we will be, for as a first tool, we will be using CFF Explorer to go forward and understand what exactly are the things which are available, or we can have a good amount of information from that exe file. Second thing will be DEI or DI. Okay, detect it easy. It will be doing the similar type of things. Okay, it will be understanding what type of file types is there, and it will be giving us some specific information about that particular file type, which we will be able to use it during our static analysis or basically dynamic analysis as well. Third thing is strings tool. Okay, this tool will be importing, or basically it will be taking any type of executable file, and it will give us all those strings or plain text strings which we are able to see, and it will show us those specific things. So whenever we will be checking for the sensitive hard-coded credentials, or whenever we are going forward and testing for the hard-coded credentials or hard-coded sensitive data, we will be definitely using our strings tools to go forward and get the same details. Next thing will be DNSpy and DE4 dot. Okay, so basically these two tools we will be using if the application, or most of the application, most of our thick client application are built on .NET framework itself. Many particular thick client applications will be based on Java. Okay, those are the two main things, but except that there will be different frameworks as well. But at that point of time, to extract the code or that particular assembly level code from that application, we will use our DNSpy and DE4 tool, so that we can go forward and review the code of that application as well. So these are the tools which we'll be using during our information gathering phase. Next stage will be our analysis or analysis of network packets. Whenever we are going forward and I am logging to my particular Skype application, I'm giving up my sensitive data, right? For authentication, I will give my email ID and I will give my password. Whether those specific things are sent over a clear or plain text format or not, we will be able to see it from these two things. First one will be Wireshark and second one will be TCP view, and we will go forward and get those specific details as well. Okay, if anything is clear text, we will definitely go forward and report the same thing. Next thing will be our dynamic testing.
Okay,
Yes.
well,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, Harit.
So in information gathering, we do have a tools called DNSpy and
Correct.
D4 dot, right? So
Correct.
those are specifically used for .NET. So if
Correct.
we have a Java application,
Yeah.
so,
So
so
we are having one another tool called JetBrains Java debugger. So basically we will be using that one as well. Definitely, like during that information gathering stage itself, we will go forward and see that one as well. Okay.
okay, thanks.
Welcome. So when it comes to dynamic testing, okay, so in dynamic testing we will be using our this particular tools. Now when it comes to our thick client applications, we will be having during dynamic testing we will be going forward and we will see two types of application. First one, we can tell it as a proxy aware applications, and second one we can say proxy unaware applications. Okay, so basically these are the two types of applications which we are going to see. When it comes to proxy aware applications, we can take that particular request, okay, from that application and we can intercept it. Okay, so if I am having this particular type of Skype application, if it is proxy aware application, I can go forward and I can take the request from that application, I can intercept it, and I can go forward and I can modify and I can verify those specific details. When it comes to proxy unaware applications, they will not, or there we will not be able to go forward and intercept any type of request. Okay, we need to go forward and check for a specific different tools to go to check whether any type of request is sent or not. Normally the applications which is something like this type of applications, right, numbers and those specific things who does not require any type of internet access, those specific applications will be considered as a proxy unaware applications. We will not be able to intercept the request at that point of time. So first and mostly used tool will be our burp suite, where we will be able to modify the request, we will be able to check for multiple another particular things, something like brute force, okay, rate limiting, all of those specific things we will be able to verify and we will be able to get that particular response itself. Rest of the tools, something like Fiddler, Eco Mirage and Charge Proxy, will be used to take the request from that particular application. Now why we have kept three different tools? Because a thick client application, in thick client application we will be having main challenge, okay, where some of the application will be, you will be able to intercept the request in few things. Okay, so basically many particular applications you will be able to take the request in only in Charles proxy, whereas Eco Mirage and Fiddler will not be able to understand that request, or they will not be able to take up that particular request. Okay, many times Eco Mirage will be much more good in taking that particular other applications in request. Okay, so that's why this particular three tools will be able to use combine, and we will see that in which particular tool we are able to get that particular request interception, and the same thing we will transmit it to burp suite so that we can go forward and we can test for rest of the vulnerabilities. Okay, so this will be the tools which we'll be using. Fiddler, Eco Mirage and Charge Proxy will be used to take the or intercept the request from that application, and same thing we can transmit it to burp suite so that we can go forward and we can use our advanced testing procedures. Okay, because Fiddler will not be having that type of option where we can do rate limiting. Okay, we can do, or we can use our set of payloads and we can test like all of those specific things, decoder, those type of functionalities will not be available with Fiddler, Eco Mirage or Charge Proxy. So we will use these tools to take or intercept that request and transmit it to burp suite, and the same thing we will go forward and check it at that point of time itself. Okay, any doubts, any queries till now, guys? Anyone?
No, sir.
No? Okay, great. Next thing will be our client-side validation. So client-side validation, we will be using Procmon tool. Procmon tool is from official Windows tool itself. What it will be doing is it will be monitoring each and everything which that particular process is doing. Okay, for example, if I am executing my Skype, okay, so Skype application will be first of all calling few of the DLL files, okay, because it will require some specific type of GUI, it will require the access of our keyboard, it will require the access of our particular screen, right? So it will call those specific DLL files. Next thing will be, if I am sharing my screen, So at that point of time, it will require more of those functionalities. So it will ask those DLL files to get those specific things, right? So what exactly Procmon will do? What are all things our application is doing in our system? It will monitor. Okay, it is process monitor. So it will monitor each and everything which our particular application is doing, and it will show it to us. That first it called this DLL file, then it checked whether this file was available or not, it has created this file, it has deleted this file. Okay, all those things we will be able to understand by reviewing the processes which are available in Procmon tool. Next thing will be red shot. It will be taking the screenshot of registries that before execution of our particular tool or our particular thick client application, okay, how the system's registries was available, and after execution how the system registries are available. Now here our main question should be that what exactly are registries? So can anyone tell me if you guys that what exactly are registries, or what exactly registries do? Anyone can guess? Narendra, Prashad, Srivatsa, Bharani. Anyone?
Those are basically the settings in the systems. Means along
Hmm?
with patches also, we have to update those registry settings as well. Because
Correct. So normally registries, we can call it as a smallest database in our system. We cannot exactly tell it as a database, but what we can tell it as a smallest data or smallest information storage configuration. What exactly registries do? Okay, so for example, if I am changing anything, if I am changing any of the configuration in my system, or if I am installing some of the software, if I am removing some of the software, if I am changing one file from one folder to another folder, all those specific things will be available or will be stored in that registry at that point of time. Later on, if we want to verify that what exactly was done by, or what exactly was done in that particular system, we can go forward and we can check that particular registry. Okay, so if there is some specific type of change in any type of file system or processes of that particular operating system, we will be able to go forward and get those specific details, and we will be able to understand that our particular tool which we are testing has changed this many things from that file system, okay, by reviewing those registries. So RedSort will be giving us the specific thing itself, that after you have initiated that tool and you have closed that tool, your tool has changed this many parts or this many things in your system, and we will be able to exactly know those specific things. Okay, so that is what we will be calling as a we will be using our RedSort for. Now it might, or basically we will be able to have that particular overview whenever we will be doing our client side validation. I will explain you guys that where exactly we will be able to find registry in our system, how those specific registries will be looking like, and how our systems and our the penetration testers uses those specific registries for. Okay, those specific things we will be understanding. Next thing will be process explorer. It is nothing but it will be checking what exactly are the processes which are running in that particular system. Okay, whenever we are executing our particular application, so at that point of time, what is the main process, what are the sub processes which are created, okay, and how, or basically how those processes are running. So all those information we will be able to understand from process explorer. Again, it is from official Microsoft itself. Last two will be for DLL hijacking. Right, so for DLL hijacking, we'll be using DLL spy and Robler tool, so that we can go forward and understand that what exactly are the DLLs which are taken by that application, and how we can modify those DLL files to verify whether DLL hijacking is possible or not. Now last set of tools which we'll be using is for binary analysis. We'll be using Hydra tool and Oli debug. Okay, we can use Oli debug or immunity debugger, both of them are same itself, and we will be validating that how we, or basically whether there is any specific type of interesting thing from the assembly level code of that application or not. Okay, we will review that assembly level code and we will verify whether the same things are there or not. Next thing will be modifying the user interface. So many times there in our application will be having the applications who are having two-tier architecture, right, who are not having a specific separate database. They will be having the client side validation, right? So at that point of time, the application, the credentials will be stored from that particular place itself, from our particular system itself. So at that point of time, if we are modifying, okay, or if we are removing that particular forms, whether we will be able to go forward and get the access of those system or the application or not, right? So all of those specific things will be understanding in this one. The tools we will be using is WinSpy++. The same thing it will do, it will give us the functionality to modify the windows of that client application. We'll also use WinManipulate and WinEnabler to activate or deactivate specific functions from that application. Last one will be memory analysis. We will take the dump of that particular process and we will see that from the operating system side whether there is any type of credentials or sensitive details which are leaked or not. Okay, whenever application was processing our details, right, it will send or it will constantly interact with our operating system, right? Our application will be constantly interacting with our operating system. So at that point of time, whether there are specific variables who are dealing the user related sensitive data in clear text or not. Okay, if they are dealing, we will be able to get the same things in clear format in that process dump, and we will be able to see the same thing with our WinHex or HXD or hex editor and the strings tool. So these are the specific tools which we are going to use. Any doubts, any queries till now? Anyone, guys? Bharani, Narendra, Prashant, Srivatsa?
No, sir.
No?
I have one query, Keval.
Yes, Narendra.
So in real time, when we are
Mm-hmm.
doing pen testing in organization, so
Yes.
let's take an example. They have provided me a VM.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are doing web application pen testing, they will provide URL everything, right?
Correct, correct, correct.
But when coming to the thick client, are
Mm-hmm.
they going to provide exe
Mm-hmm.
file to us, or whether do we have to do testing on their environment?
Okay, so there will be two specific things. Okay, there will be one particular thing where application can be hosted anywhere. Okay, something like this type of application, Skype application, it can be hosted anywhere, right? There is no specific need of user and configuration. Those type of applications they will provide, and we just need to check it from our end itself. They just need to whitelist your IP address and we are good to go. Second type of application, okay, that will be internal applications, okay, which cannot be exposed outside. Something like there will be many type of bank environments, right? When we go to bank, they will be having their own softwares, right, which they will be using to manage those specific users and those specific type of things. So those applications will not be exposed outside. They cannot use it outside the bank environment. So at that point of time, they will give you a VPN access to the system which are available or which are inside their environment, and you just need to go take the remote access, and you need to send them the list of tools which they need to install. They will keep that environment ready, and then you are good to go. You can start testing. So based on the client, we will be able to get that. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome. So this was it from today's session, guys. Okay, today, as it was first session, okay, I am just giving you guys one particular assignment itself. Definitely during our sessions, whenever we are passing all of those specific sessions, right, I will be giving you different types of assignments. Some assignments will be for research work. Okay, some assignments will be for practical work and some assignments will be for the configuration part. So today you guys your assignment will be to have that particular Windows system where you are planning to test or to conduct the penetration testing. You guys have to go through this particular links. You have to install or at least download all the tools, okay, and basically keep it installed so that in our next session you guys can parallelly work or parallelly practice whenever I am teaching you guys, right? At that point of time you guys can parallelly go forward and practice the same thing, and we can learn those specific things as well. Okay, so till then, any doubts, queries, questions, anything for me, guys? Anyone?
Hello.
Yes, Prashant.
Keval,
Yes.
will you be sharing the list of tools should be downloaded?
Yeah, I will be sharing this particular PPT itself, so you can just go forward and download it from there itself.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
Okay,
after like within 5 minutes only I will be sharing this one.
okay.
Okay. Yes, Prashant.
So plugins are also the example of thick client pen testing.
Yeah, plugins also will be the example. We cannot exactly tell, but when it comes to this one, whenever we are using some specific type of browser add-ons, right? At that point of time, as it is executable file and we will be able to use, definitely we can tell it as those specific client applications itself. But when it comes to testing process, we will not be able to conduct the full things because as those are plugins, we will not be able to take the specific thing at that point of time. Okay, we will not be able to directly go forward and analyze those specific processes. So those specific things will be the scope of that particular plugin will be much more minimal compared to our main applications, but we can consider them as well as a thick client application itself. Okay.
Keval, one more doubt.
Yes.
Uh, see, when I'm testing the client applications, right? They even will ask for source code analysis. Will be how to approach for that?
Okay, so when it comes to thick client applications, we will be covering a part of code, okay, in our two places. First one will be uh, we will be checking for this particular binary analysis, and we will be reviewing that particular code. And overall, when it comes to our particular code, we will be checking in this .NET or D.NET. We will try to extract the code from client side, and we will try to validate it. Okay, but as a source code activity is totally different, right? So at that point of time your scope for that particular activity will be different. That cannot be included with our thick client penetration testing. There you have to check for the code side vulnerabilities, right? How we are dealing with source code or secure code review, right? At that point of time we will ask for the code level files, okay, all the code files, and we will review one by one of all of those specific details, right? All of those things will be done. So that will be a different activity, but we will be covering, or basically we can cover a part of it if the application is not that much obfuscated. Okay, whenever our application is obfuscated, we will not be able to get direct code, or we will not be able to extract direct code from that application. We need to go through assembly level language, and we need to extract the assembly level language from that particular application. So if the application is obfuscated, we will not be able to do that one. Okay, so basically at that point of time, whenever your client is asking for the specific source code review, right, you can mention that will be totally a different activity where we will review a line by line of that code, and we will give you the code level vulnerabilities, whether there is SQL injection or any type of things are there or not. Okay, when it comes to our thick client application, we will be doing our particular analysis on that particular application itself from the GUI level and from that particular side itself. Okay.
Okay. Chrome extensions are also considered as thick client. Huh?
Yes, correct. Those
Okay.
are also considered as a thick client.
Okay.
Okay, sure. So any doubts, any queries, anything for me,
So
guys? Yes,
I
yes,
got a
Prash.
doubt regarding our DLL files.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain this please?
Okay, So anyhow, we will be learning more about DLL file whenever we will be covering our DLL hijacking. But let me give you an high level introduction on the same. So basically, for example, let's take our Skype application itself. So whenever I am having this particular application, what will happen is application to function, it will require operating system functionalities. Okay, so so here the Skype application, I am sharing the screen with you guys, right? So it will require that particular access from my operating system. So there will be two types of so basically when it comes to those specific requirements, operating system will be having those specific requirement access, whether any of the application can access it or not, right? All of those specific things will be mentioned in DLL files. Now there will be two types of DLL files. One will be operating system level DLLs and second one will be application level DLLs. So whenever application requires a specific thing which it is not having, or basically which it requires to function properly, it will go forward and try to access that particular DLL files. Okay, in the DLL files all those specific things will be mentioned, that what exactly functionality will be covered, okay, which type of applications or which user role, okay, of the applications can access it, which user roles of applications cannot access it. All those specific things will be available in the DLL files. Now whenever I am trying to share my screen, right, so at that point of time in backend my application will call that particular DLL file. Okay, if the operating system approves, it will have the access, and at that point of time you guys will be able to share my screen. So that is how it will be available. Same thing goes with the application level DLL file. At that point of time, application will be having in the bundle of application which our client will be sharing or we will be downloading, right? There will be multiple DLL files which application will extract. Now at that point of time, just for the code reusability, right, if I am going forward and I am having this particular meeting every day, so it will not be creating the separate things every time, right? What it will do is it will create a specific file where it will be easy to access, and at that point of time it just need to call that particular function or that particular DLL file, and that particular function will be completed, right? So that is how just for the user ease, or basically user more added functionality, basically application will create its own DLL files as well, and every time when that action is called, it will go forward and try to access the DLL file, get the permission, and it will be used by that particular user as well. So those we can call it, or that is how our applications will be using that particular DLL files, and these are the contents. Whenever we will be going through that particular DLL hijacking, right, I will give you an in-depth overview on what exactly are DLL files, where exactly you will be finding, how to check for it, and what are the contents for that particular files as well. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sure. So any doubts? Yes, sure. So any doubts, any queries, anything for me, guys? No? Okay, so I will share you this particular PDF or PPT document within 5 to 10 minutes itself. Okay, you guys can start up with downloading and installation of the tools, and in our tomorrow session we will understand how to configure our environment. Okay.
Sure, Kevin.
Okay, sir.
Sure. So it was great to have you guys. Bye. Have a great evening. Bye everyone.
Bye.